Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Reality Game Forum podcast. Tonight with me, we have my wonderful co-host, the legendary Prince Ty.
Good evening.
The vivacious Stephen Lehman.
Thanks, Patrick.
The Latina flavor, Alicia Garza.
Hola!
And her better half, Jack.
Why, hello there.
Colin is out tonight. I think he's got some audition, so wish him good luck on that. But we're
in some pain. Don't worry. He'll be back next week.
Hopefully he'll be back next week. We'll see. So let's talk some Survivor tonight. I guess, Ty, what was your opinion on this episode as a whole?
Well, the boobs are still alive, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
As, you know, I assume you share that sentiment.
Yeah.
It was a strange episode. It was a very, very strange episode. The whole focusing on someone who desperately wants to be gone and yet isn't gone. You know, I mean, like, she was like 9/10 of the Janu there, to quote the great Stephen Lehman. 9/10 of the Janu was like there. She was just ready to give it up, and then she didn't for some reason. I'm still not.
She doesn't want to quit, but she wants to give it out.
Right.
True enough.
I can see that. There was also a lot of focus on Shireen, especially in the beginning, about her.
It was. That's, I believe, a precursor for next round, which we can discuss. I mean, I could try to do power ranks. Obviously, none of that shit works anymore. But I mean, I could.
But
probably.
Jack,
I got worried when it seemed like Shireen was going to be our new narrator. Now that Haley has been.
You say that like it's a bad thing, though. Shireen is.
I do say that like it's a bad thing because it is a bad thing because Shireen is annoying as fuck.
But you love Ozzy, so you
would disagree.
Yeah, I think Shireen is probably one of the most likable people left. I think. Yeah.
She realized that America makes us all look like we're about to get taken over by the Russians and/or Chinese. Anyway,
despite how socially awkward and troublesome her social skills have been in this game, during her confessionals, she's very well spoken and actually makes good articulate points. I just think when she's actually playing the game, she gets too hyped up that she's on Survivor. She's such a big fan, and everyone needs to know that she's such a big fan about it, that she can't. She has an easier time talking to the camera than she does to other people, so that's not a skill to have playing Survivor.
Yeah.
It's a skill to have when you're a TV reporter.
It's like, where's she hiding the meth? All right, I mean, she's when she gets around other people, she just has this way of turning them off really quickly and being really annoying. But Alicia, do you think she is on the right track as far as her strategy? Do you think she has a clue of what she's doing, despite your?
Well, what a surprise! Oh, come on. Go ahead.
That's a good question. I mean, I think for starters, she completely misread Jen. Because you saw Jen give her, like, an evil look when Shireen was like, I still have you. And Jen looked none too amused by that. So I think she doesn't read people well. I don't think she reads situations well.
Basically, what you're saying is that Jen had Shireen by necessity, not because she chose to.
Right. And Shireen thinks they're, like, really great gal pals, and Jen is, like, not feeling that as much.
Yeah.
I disagree on that, because she talked about how, I mean, this is really, like, fast-forwarding to the episode, but how Shireen said that she hadn't quite connected with Joe on the same level she did with Jen. So despite that Jen might not really like her that much, I feel like Joe is much more likely to ditch Shireen and do whatever he wants to survive himself, as opposed to Jen now, like, is more likely to be forced to work with Shireen, so I think it's better.
Did it seem like Shireen was willing to ditch both Jen and Joe to go hit, with another crowd or whatever splinter group happens in the Blues?
For sure.
Yeah, if it came to it, she would have.
Yeah, I think she's
recognizes that she's not the most likable, not the greatest challenges. She's just not very good at everything. I think she's sort of starting to realize that and sees that this blue-collar alliance that's currently the majority, eventually they're not going to get to the final 6 or whatever they are. So she's positioning herself when that time comes, when they do split on each other, Shireen will still be in the game because she's not a threat to be voted out, and she's going to pick which side she wants to choose at that point, and find herself in the majority once that fracture happens.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
When she was
which could be very soon.
When she was asked who would she target, she said Caroline. Ty, was that the smart person to say?
Well, talking to Mike, absolutely, because it's not somebody that Mike values all that much. It's also someone that she could reasonably go back and say, yeah, I hate that bitch, and that bitch hates me. So it's a viable story. It makes strategic sense because Carolyn or Mike needs to be worried about outliers like Carolyn, and no, it was really the perfect pitch. We'll see how. I mean, it's obvious to say somebody like Rodney because Rodney's a big mouth and Rodney's a big target and all that sort of business. But picking someone like him almost reinforces to Mike, oh yeah, I should keep that guy around because he's a bigger target than I am, and everybody fucking hates him. Whereas somebody like Carolyn is somebody who really, that's who poses a threat to Mike. Not Rodney, not other visible targets, but somebody who would sneak around the bushes and has the social skill and just general ability to speak that Carolyn does. Mention, Carolyn's,
not that they know it, but Carolyn also still has an idol, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, nobody fucking knows it except for Tyler.
Yeah. But. Interesting enough, when Shireen said that, oh yeah, Carolyn has Will and Rodney and Tyler under her finger, that is the exact alliance that Rodney is trying to create to flip on Mike when the time comes.
Oh yeah.
So, I don't know if that's Shireen being very astute or one of those four is telegraphing things too much. But
I would be shocked if Rodney was telegraphing things. He's so very subtle after all.
Okay. Anything anyone else has to add before we go to the war challenge? About Shireen or anyone else? Did anyone? Okay, the reward challenge. One of the funnier ones with Will and Dan.
That was
fantastic.
I'm so glad. Epic battle. I'm so glad those two went at the same time.
So what an athletic competition that was. That gives hope to me. I think I might be more physically fit than both of them, and that's just wonderful. That's great.
I was watching and I was simultaneously glad because I was like, I might do better than them, but then I also acknowledged the fact like I'm also not that coordinated, so I can see both ends of the spectrum here, and I'm not sure whether I'm excited by all this falling or.
Well, by this time they've been out there for more than 20 days, true. And so give them a little bit of a break, but it was comedy. I saw a GIF online of Will falling off the slide, and it just stops and it does the the GTA and goes black and white.
Oh, wasted.
That was pretty cool.
It's pretty good.
So yeah, we had one team got all the chocolate, the other team had Jen bitching about not wanting to be there anymore.
It's a pretty good trade-off, I'd say. Chocolate for Jen bitching.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and then we had more of Will Joe.
Come saying, on, the moment Will speaks, he's dead. He's not dead yet, so come on.
When he gets a confessional in the first 5 minutes, he's dead.
Of next episode. Yes, anyway.
And then Joe with the really positive message.
How can we forget the incredible Rodney impressions?
Oh my god.
Rodney impressions were fantastic.
They were really great.
Those were spot on.
I was going to go to the chocolate, and I saw that chocolate and just thought how sick they were going to be afterwards. And
they're going to get diarrhea.
As Don would say, Diarrhea City.
If I eat that scorpion, I won't get the same shits. I won't get to eat that candy.
Now, Rodney, he showed...
I can't do it. I can't do that voice. I don't know how the fuck Rodney does it.
He's good. I mean, he had those people laughing.
It was dead on. It was
Jack,
dead on.
Jack, how does that...
Shireen probably thought that it was originally Mike who had that alliance with Will, Carolyn, and all that, and then said that Rodney was doing that voice. But he did his alliance talks to try to throw people off.
Jack, how does that help Rodney in the long run as far as his social game? Because it's been pretty weak, but...
I think it was a good... I mean, I started to like Rodney a lot more seeing that scene. I'm sure other people in the game did as well. Because Rodney's been kind of a jackass up to this point, but when they were all just hanging out, everyone started laughing. You saw Jen and Joe, who had really down look on their face, and Jen was pissed off about the chicken. But a few seconds later, when Rodney is like spewing off all these impressions of Mike and Dan, they both started smiling and laughing. So it sort of lightened up the mood and made them enjoy Rodney's company a little bit more for the time being.
It also gave off a spark in Joe's head about how Rodney might not like Mike very much, and there may be a split there, but I guess too late for him on that. But.
Yeah, really.
What do y'all think about just Jen in general and her wanting to win the immunity to give to Joe?
I love it.
Oh, yeah, I thought it was great. And I was talking to Ty during the episode, and I completely thought that was well, I thought Jen was going to win, and I thought she was going to wind up keeping it. It was a little curveball, but
would that have been a bitch move or what?
Well, that's what I thought it was being set up for,
Jen gives no fuck. She does what she wants. All right?
No collar, baby.
Yeah, that's true. She's exemplifying no collar, as Probst would say.
Absolutely.
That would have been... I was really rooting for her, because it would have been fun if she did give it to...
Yeah, it was a little send-off.
Yeah.
I enjoy... Let's put it this way. When I don't have to educate, I love chaos. And Jen is all about just not giving a fuck.
Don't bring up chaos, because that...
I'm sorry.
It triggers you, Patrick.
Well, we know that we don't have to worry about that particular brand of chaos. I don't think Jen's going to sag yet.
Just wait till season 31.
Oh, God.
Did anyone else notice? Because I know they it was all, everyone's heights were different.
Mm-hmm.
Rodney's was like pushed all the way up. He was like a high chair. I didn't realize how short he was.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Definitely
it would make
sense.
When I saw the challenge, I thought to myself, wow, like what a great time for me to put my hair in a giant bun on the top of my head so I didn't even have to stand on my tiptoes.
I was thinking for Joe, he could have done that as well.
Yeah, really.
I'm sure Jeff might have said something to disallow that so we didn't have any like gender or long hair.
No way!
Privileges that need to be checked.
It's a survivor.
But the challenge wasn't new. It wasn't anything spectacular. And the person winning didn't have any impact on the game.
Otis agrees, evidently.
Yeah, there's people screaming outside. I don't know why.
Well, they're just upset that they live in a place that no longer has a good running back in their backfield, probably. That's all.
Oh, there is a good running back. We don't need the best with the offensive line, but anyway.
Did you just say that? Oh, never mind. I can't even fathom that. Go on.
Yeah.
Go on. Jesus Christ.
Let's move on to the fake idol fuckery, which is what I called it. Did that make sense to anyone? I mean, I like that Joe is a jewelry maker and he was getting all that shit set up, but
it was impressive how quickly he got it done.
Yeah, and it looked quite legit.
It looked.
Yeah, I mean,
it looked great.
But none of the moves he used made any sense. Alicia, what should he have done?
I think there's a lot of ways he could have played it. Obviously, it wasn't good. I mean, he could have worn it around his neck, like from the get-go, to like show off that he had it.
Well, they still would have split the votes.
I mean, maybe. You never know. This cast is a little crazy, or at least the editing is making them seem a little crazy as far as who they choose to vote. So
when he goes up and approaches Mike and is like, "I'll give you this immunity idol if you don't write my name down."
Like, I thought that was a little...
If I were Mike, I'd be like, why don't you just fucking play it?
Yeah, like... I'd call his bluff. I'd say, okay, well, if it's real, then you play it, because the vote's being split regardless.
Well, again, Mike ate a scorpion, so let's not...
That's true. We can't give him...
You know.
Well, Mike also looks like a contender to win this whole thing, so...
I think he took a hit tonight, actually. But that's my 2 cents. But.
I think things could have gone a lot differently with Joe. And I think he was kind of doomed from the get-go because Mike already had the idol. So if Mike didn't have it, and maybe Joe somehow had it, or someone else had it, and he went to Mike, who's sort of the ringleader of that opposing alliance, things could have gone a lot differently. But Mike knew that he was bullshitting him and was bullshitting him back right back at him. So I don't see how a way that Joe could have maneuvered it given the circumstances that were laid out prior to.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot of effort with very little payoff, but I guess he was just desperate. But yeah,
I don't know why he went to Mike and not to like Rodney, who was stupid and would have like freaked the fuck out. Well, that's what I don't understand.
My assumption would be because Mike actually has that social pull to make something happen, whereas Rodney, I'm not necessarily saying he doesn't, but at this particular point, I wouldn't say, I need to pull off a fake idol move, let me trust Rodney with this.
True.
What about the fact that he didn't go to anyone? Mike, came to him. He wasn't, walking towards anyone. Mike, ran through the jungle to go find Joe. Yeah, it obviously knew that Joe was doing something hiding in the woods. So,
yeah, Joe watched.
Unless he was just super awkward about it, I was going to the bathroom. Then approached someone else, but I think it was pretty obvious what Mike was trying to telegraph.
Yeah, they all knew what was going on, and whenever someone in the minority runs off and people chase them or whatever, it just didn't make any sense. Neither did, I guess Shireen had her numbers loophole.
Which I thought was really impressive of her, actually, just to sort of at least talk it out, since we don't normally get that sort of...
So her plan was for Joe to vote for Jen, and she voted for Jen, and Jen would go. Because that would have been, yeah. And I guess she decided against that. Any idea why? Any input?
I'd say because long-term Joe is a substantially bigger threat, and it gets the Big Blue Alliance more willing to implode earlier when you have two outsiders that are Shireen and Jen. Jen, who has already made her clear that she doesn't really want to be there anymore, and Shireen, who, God bless her, is Shireen. I think it makes people more willing to flip when Joe is out of the equation, essentially.
I get that, but on the flip side, you take Joe out, and then Shireen is obviously wants to be there, and I think that puts her on the top of the list of people being voted off if they don't want to make a move.
But it's going to implode next episode,
right? So, no. Because this is an alliance of 7. So in theory, there's going to be a minority of 3.
And the 3 needs to make a move now.
Right, and if that 3 joins up with Shireen and Jen, final 5, lockdown.
Not if Shireen and Jen are smart, but yes,
right.
Basically, the simple truth of the matter is Mike's already paranoid that he's going to be the target now that Joe is gone. Joe is now gone. That means Mike thinks, oh fuck, I'm the target. I have an idol that will protect me for 1 round, but then I have Dan the Goat and Sierra, who's approximately 90 pounds soaking wet and the size of one of my legs, and to that end, I can't hide behind either of them. I need to make the move now. Oh, by the way, Rodney's making my voice to everyone, mocking me. So, yeah, I might be in danger now. To that end, I need to make the move. Oh, look at that. Shireen wants to help me for no discernible reason, but I need a scorpion, so I don't give a fuck right now. 5 votes is more than 4 votes. I assume they learn math in Texas. Alicia, you can vouch for this, I presume. And to that end, next round, Will, probably, because Will's the one fucking talking. So, to that end, it makes sense for Shireen. It makes sense for Shireen. She did what she was told for a round, and now she can come back up and say, oh yeah, that threat, he's dead. Now it's going to be you, unless you play ball. So,
I was just going to sort of to add on to that, say that I think Mike might have made an error in voting out Joe only because by keeping Joe in, you establish someone who is going to be everyone's target. That's not you. I understand the longingness to want to take out that threat when you have the ability to, considering he did win the first 2 immunity challenges. But I think when Mike has already established that he is paranoid about himself being viewed as a threat, to take out someone who is probably the only bigger threat than you, I think that was a miscalculation on his part, and I think it could come back to bite him in the ass soon. And that's why sort of
So
why I
what
think
should he have done? Betrayed his alliance and voted out?
I think he should.
Oh, Steven, I think you might be saying what I'm going to say.
Oh,
go ahead, Jack.
Well, I was going to say there's no way that he can. When Joe lost immunity, they are obviously going to put more votes on him or vote for him over Jen. So I think the only way that he could have made Joe leave or made Joe stay is by not telling Shireen to vote Joe or telling Shireen that she should vote Jen. So the blame isn't put on him. It's Shireen made a random move, and that's why Joe's still here.
Right. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I think maybe if he went to Shireen and said that or whatever, that would have been better than him betraying everyone, and he could have had plausible deniability. I don't know, but
and you also kind of get word that maybe Shireen, if you go like, "Hey, Shireen, you should vote Jen," so Joe stays. Then what if Shireen goes and tells everyone else?
That's true.
There's bonuses to keeping Joe, but is it worth the possible risk involved? And that's something that you have to weigh when making these moves in Survivor.
Indeed.
So yeah, I think that pretty much concludes this episode, unless anyone else has anything to add.
I'm looking forward to next episode. I'm hoping that Jen, takes this, anger that it seemed like she was channeling towards Shireen and just existing in general, and, decides, she really wants to go balls to the wall and, stay and do work.
Well, I think she will stay.
That are forming in that giant alliance, so...
Don't worry, Alicia. She will definitely want to stay next week.
If she doesn't want to quit, they're not going to vote her out.
Right. I think with Jen next week, I think if we're also talking about next week, I think Will is screwed because we were shown that he's getting content. It's pretty damning.
Not really sure that I would look forward to this if I was Alicia.
Yeah, I think Will is toast next
Will
week.
is going to pull through just fine. It's gonna be like the smoke and mirrors that they always try to pull with the
when people who never speak, they die.
And on top of that,
there's one editing thing that still stands, and that's when, and that's it. That's it. When people don't speak, then randomly they start to speak. They die.
Especially if it's something really, really random, something comes back to Blood vs. Water. When Laura was giving Aris a massage or whatever, it was totally unnecessary, and it's Laura's dead.
Temptress.
This is how they tell us ahead of time.
And I was just going to sort of say on top of that, when you have, this might be a little too edity, but I think Shireen, they're setting her up to, I guess, I don't want to say necessarily outlast the bullies, but certainly outlast the people who have, outwardly shat on her. So, with her, I think her edit's been very well crafted to the point that they're showing her as someone we should, in theory, be rooting for over...
An underdog.
Right.
Oh, really?
I like her. At least I think...
I think you guys have bad taste.
Says the person who loves Ozzy unironically.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think with...
Y'all are riddled with bad taste.
I'm not going to deny that with Steven, with his Cass love.
Cass is my problematic fave, I will acknowledge. But with Shireen, I think you have her being shown, as this underdog who fights through all the people crumping all over her for no reason.
Unintentionally. I don't find her annoying, I just think she's unintentionally hilarious.
Right, she means well, too, is the thing. She's not malicious about anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but malicious doesn't mean that they're necessarily likable.
Okay, so I guess my question is this. Do you like Dan better?
No, of course not. Really? You're going to choose,
There are all these people. There are all these unlikable people that are shitting on Shireen, and you can't... I just don't understand how you could be actively rooting against her, because actively rooting against her means Dan and Rodney and all of these shitty idiots win. And that's just terrible. That's a terrible thought. And if they're spoon-feeding that to us, then it's another reason that the Russians and the Chinese are playing.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if they're just going to all these great lengths to show Shireen being bullied, and then, oh hey, bullies win...
That can't possibly be how this ends. And to that end, I'm alright. I don't think Shireen will win.
Maybe it'll be
I don't think she's a threat of actually
winning. Maybe it'll be Shireen, Sierra, and Jen.
That would be wonderful. That would be great.
Lovely?
Jen might win then.
I could see Shireen getting a Kathy Vavrick where she could do it, and she just last second can't, and it's going to be tragic.
Kathy was smarter than Shireen, I think.
Well, yes, of course. But sort of.
She also had a much more memorable laugh.
Yes. She also pissed on a guy.
She sure did. Thank God Ben's not here.
Okay, do you want to go through Ty and do a quick power ranking?
Mike is number 1 because it's not Rodney, and Mike is the other figurehead of an alliance right now. Number 2 would be... I don't know. We're just going to say Mike is winning right now. Because I hope that it's not that predictable, and it probably means he'll die soon. So, Mike. There's Mike. Mike will win. Mike will win.
I think it's going to be, one of Mike, and then probably Carolyn, number 2.
Carolyn would be the other... If the other alliance pulls it out, then I would imagine. Although, have we heard from her at all since the merge?
She's been pretty invisible.
Yeah, she's been pretty... Tyler didn't speak at all tonight, either.
Yeah.
Even though he got immunity, I heard nothing from him.
Because I was going to say, at least Tyler was, visible last round, but neither of them were visible this round, other than Shireen saying, oh yeah, you should probably kill her, which I feel like they will do.
I want to say that Carolyn had a few confessionals in the merge episode about Kelly flopping or something, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But I can't even remember.
Yeah, that's about it, though.
It's nothing substantial.
Essentially, it's Mike versus the field, and there's nothing yet that tells me that the field is ready to compete.
So I guess that's good. It keeps us on our toes and not...
Yeah, hopefully so.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. This time last game, did we know that Natalie was winning yet?
Well, because that would have been after Final 9, so that would have been after the West boot.
Yeah, maybe we would have then after the West boot.
I think she definitely...
I think she was definitely looking like the best contender. I don't know if we were 100% on her. If Keith fumbled fucked his way, but...
No. Fucking Keith. Good Lord.
Anyways, I guess we can conclude on that. Fucking Keith.
Yeah, fucking Keith.
Thank you for listening. Be sure to catch us next week. And, good night. Bye.
Bye.